In this video, we'll be completing a Gauss-Jordan elimination with a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, so recall that if you have a system of equations that is 2 down and 3 long, that's a 2 by 3 matrix. Okay, so you take the numbers in front of variables, the 3, the 4, put them here, the 2, the -5, put them here, and then you put after the equal sign, you put them here. Okay, and this is called a matrix. This is putting it into a 2 by 3 matrix, and we want to get it to this form, right? Because this is our x's, right? These are both our x's, 3 and 2, and these are our y's here. So basically, this says 1x plus 0y equals a number. So x equals a number, and y equals a number. Okay, so once we get into this form, whatever this number is will be our solution for x. Whatever this is will be our solution for y. All right. So keep in mind that the notation, the arrow right, means that the expression on the left becomes the expression on the right once the operations are performed. Okay, so let's take a look at our first problem. We've got 4x plus 8y equals -16 and -8x minus 14y equals 32. So they've already put it into the matrix for us here. Okay, so 4x, 8y, -16, -8x, -14y, 32. Okay, so our first question is, what did we multiply R1 by to make it become this? And R1 means row 1. Okay, this is a row 1. So what do we multiply row 1 by to make it turn into this? So the 4 turned into a 1, the 8 turned into a 2, and the -16 became a -4. So what did we multiply by? Well, it looks like we multiplied by 1/4. Okay, a fourth of 4 is 1, a fourth of 8 is 2, and a fourth of -16 is -4. Okay, so drop down to the next step. It says, okay, well now you're here. What did you multiply R1 such that when you added it to R2, it gave you this? Okay, so we got the main thing we need to look at is we got a 0 here. So we multiplied R1 by something and added it and made this turn into a 0. What number would that be? Well, this is a -8. Right? So we would need to multiply by something that would cancel that term out. So that's going to be a +8. So 8 times 1 is 8, and 8 plus 8 is 0. 8 times 2 is 16, and 16 minus 14 is 2. And then 8 times 4 is -32, and -32 plus +32 is 0. Okay, so that's what we multiplied by there. Now we've got a new step. It says, what did we multiply R2 by to get a new R2? So new row 2. How did I make it go from 0, 2, 0 to 0, 1, 0? What did I multiply it by? Well, the only number that changed is the 2 turned into a 1. So half of 2 is 1, so I'm going to say that we multiplied by a half. So we multiplied the second row by a half. Half of 2 became 1. Okay, so that gives us our partial solution here. This is our y term, so y equals 0. We know that already. Okay, now we can move on, and it says, what did I multiply row 2 by, and then add to R1 to make the new R1. So here's the new R1, that the first two terms, instead of 1 and 2, are 1 and 0. Okay, so what did I multiply this by so that I add to this one and this term goes to 0? Well, if I multiply by a -2, -2 times 1 is -2, and I add that to the +2, and that term zeroes out as it should. Okay, so -2 is what we're looking at. Okay, so for the bottom one, I know this one is 0, and when I multiply -2 times this and I add it to this, well, -2 times 0 is still 0, so 0 plus -4 is still -4. So our solution for this is -4, comma 0. Okay, let's look at this one. So we've got 2x minus 4y equals -16, and we've got -4x plus 12y equals 40. Okay, so here are the numbers put in from this to here. The first thing says, what did I multiply R1 by to get this new R1? Okay, so the 2 became a 1, the -4 became -2, and the -16 became -8. So it looks like everything got cut in half, so we multiplied by a half. Okay, so our next question is, what did I multiply R1 by and then add to R2 to get this new R2? Well, we started with this term right here being a -4 and it turned into a 0. Okay, so what did I multiply R1 by and then add it to R2 to make this term turn into a 0? Well, I need to multiply this by 4, because if I multiply it by 4, it'll turn into 4, and 4 plus -4 will turn into a 0, which is what I want. Okay, so that's going to be a 4. So 4 times R1 is going to be 4 times 1, which is 4, and you add these and it cancels. 4 times this one gives you -8. Add to -12 and you get, or to +12, you get 4. And then 4 times this gives us -32, and -32 plus 40 gives us 8. Okay, so the next question is, what did I multiply R2 by to get a new R2? So this row became this row, and instead of 4, 8, it's 1, 2. So that's dividing by 4 or multiplying by 1/4. 1/4 of 4 is 1. 1/4 of 8 is 2. Okay, and then we got this, and it says, okay, what did I multiply R2 by and add to R1 such that you get these first two terms? Okay, so the one that changed was this term, right? Because it became a 0 over here. So what did I multiply this one by and then add to this to make that term 0 out? Well, if I multiply by 2, 2 times 1 is 2, and if I add 2 to -2, this term turns into a 0. Okay, so that's what I multiplied by. All right, so we get the second part of the solution, y is equal to 2. And then the first part of the solution, once I multiply this one by 2 and add it, let's see, 2 times 2 is 4, plus -8 is a -4. So my solutions are -4 for x and 2 for y. Okay, last problem in this. So we've got 5x minus 20y equals -40 and -9x plus 40y equals 80. Here are those numbers here. Okay, so what did I multiply R1 by to make this new row 1 here? Well, it went from a 5 to a 1. So it looks like you're dividing by 5 or multiplying by a fifth. What's 1/5 of -20? Basically, what is -20 divided by 5? Well, it's -4. And -40 divided by 5 is -8. So I am dividing by 5 or multiplying by 1/5. Okay. Then it says, what are we multiplying R1 by and then adding to R2, which gives us this new R2. Okay, so we went from -9, 40, 80 to 0, 4, 8. And we did that by multiplying the top one by something and adding it down. Okay, so the first one is the easiest one to look at because it turns into a 0. So if it turns into a 0, then we have to make this the opposite of that. So this has to turn into a 9. And how do I turn a 1 into a 9? I multiply it by a 9. Okay, so 9 times 1 is 9, and we add it here, and that becomes a 0. 9 times -4 is -36. -36 plus 40 is 4. And then 9 times -8 is -72. -72 plus 80 is 8. Okay, what did in this next one, what did I multiply by R2 to make this new R2? So it changed from 4, 8 to 1, 2. Looks like I divided by 4. So 1/4 multiplied by 1/4. Okay, and then on this last step, let's see, it said that the top row, instead of 1, -4, 8, became 1, 0, and something. Okay, so I need to multiply the bottom one by something such that when I add to it, this term will go away completely. So what can I multiply 1 by such that when I add it to this one, it'll go away? Well, this needs to be a 4 because 4 is opposite of -4. So I need to turn this into a 4. And this, if I multiplied by 4, would be 8. So it's going to turn into 0 as well. So I multiplied by 4. Okay, so this gives me y is equal to 2. Okay, and let's think about what x is. We multiplied by R2 by 4 and added it. So multiply this one by 4, add it to this term goes away. Multiply this one by 4, turn into an 8. 8 plus -8 is 0. So my solutions are 0, 2, or 0, 2.